Hey guys, welcome to Blaugrana, welcome to another video, and today I want to talk about Hector Bellerin. Finally, it's been a topic that I've wanted to talk for a while, but I've been kind of busy. I'm back in Canada, guys, so back to where I actually live, and now I want to talk about Bellerin because it's been a rumor that's been circulating for a couple of days now that Barcelona have inquired about Bellerin, and we have to remember that before Semedo came into Barcelona, Bellerin was the front runner to be the next right back for Barcelona. And back then, I thought that would have been a fantastic signing. And if you ask me right now, I think that it would be a good signing if you can get profit for Semedo. We've known that Semedo has been inquired to be 30, 40 million euros, maybe even 50 million euros. And if you could get a profit on Semedo and buy Bellerin on the low, they've been rumored about 20 to 25 million euros. I think it would be a good deal, because I think quality-wise they're about the same quality player, and you know, they're about the same age. Bellerin is still pretty young, he's 25 years old, so he can still be a really good player for Barcelona. Now, my problem with this signing is that what I've said, in 2017 Bellerin was the front runner, and in my opinion was the best right back that we could have ever purchased at that time. The problem is that it's been 3 years, and now there's other candidates at right back. Obviously there is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is impossible to sign because he's the best right back in the world. There is Youcef Atal, that I've mentioned before, but it doesn't seem like any big teams are going in for him. I think they're missing in. I think that it could be a case of another Alphonso Davies, a player that's unknown until he becomes known. But anyways, and there's the other case that I think is the most glamorous, which is Sergino Dest, a player that I think has potential to be one of the best right backs in the world and one of the best fullbacks in the world. Has the quality, technical qualities. He's been trained at Ajax, so he knows how we play. He knows our play style. He knows our philosophy. So, you know, all those things brought together makes me think that we have the potential to buy a better right back with more guarantees than Bellerin, because the thing is that if for 20-25 million euros, that's the same price tag that Sergino Dest would cost you. Ajax, that's what they value him at, 20-25 million euros, 5 years less, and doesn't have the injury record of Hector Bellerin, because the injury record, the fitness record of a player is important if you know how to analyze it. For example, if you tell me that the injury record of Dembele at Barcelona is the main concern for you, then fine. It is a concern because the player for some time now has not proven to be able to get himself fit during the whole season. But with that said, how many players at Barcelona have had the same problem, and as soon as they go to another team, it seems to be fixed? So if you tell me players like, for example, Real Madrid or Barcelona, that multiple players are having the same injury over and over again, well, then I tell you, I need to know the way that you train, the way that you do things, that you take care of your players, and then I tell you why the players get injured. Because Dembele before Barcelona, no injuries. At Dortmund, no injuries. At Rennes, comes to Barcelona and it's an injury crisis. Rafinha, more the same. Has injuries at Barcelona every time that he's here, and when he leaves for Celta, when he leaves for Inter, no problems. So that indicates me that there's a problem at Barcelona with the fitness of some players. Some players that are naturally gonna have more ways of getting injured. If they come to Barcelona, it's gonna increase that chance of them getting injured. But they go to a team that actually works well, that trains well, that trains with maximum intensity, that prepares those players so they get the less injured as possible, then, you know, things change. A player like Bellerin, that seems to be one of the few only players at Arsenal that seems to have that injury problem over and over again, you know, it doesn't inspire me a lot of confidence. And do I think that a double, like having two fullbacks, two right backs in Bellerin and Sergi Roberto would be pretty good? Yes. But I think that Sergi Roberto with 28 years old and Sergino Dest with 20 is the perfect combination that we could need right now. Because Sergino Dest could perfectly, you know, out of 10 games, play 4 to 5 games, and Sergi Roberto play 5 to 6 games. I think that would be perfectly fine for them. I think that will make both of them happy with the game time. And I know that there's been a lot of criticism for Sergi Roberto. For me, it's inexcusable. For me, I don't know the hate. I don't know why Sergi Roberto gets the hate that he does. Because for me, Sergi Roberto is one of the best fullbacks in the world. When he's at his best, when he's playing starter, and he's playing on a Barcelona team that actually performs well, and he himself is performing well, he is one of the best fullbacks in the world. And I know that people are going to call me, how can you say Sergi Roberto? He's not a fullback, he's a center midfielder. I'm like, well, let me tell you, Sergi Roberto, for me, it's only world class. He's only been able to show that he's world class at the fullback position. In center midfield, he's always been very underwhelming and very inconsistent. But for me, first season with Hector Bellerin and the previous seasons with Luis Enrique, he showed that he could be one of the fullbacks in the world. Like, he, for me, should have been the starter in Euro 2016 because he proved that he was one of the best or at least he should have been fighting for that starting spot with Carvajal in Euro 2016. So, this argument of like Sergio Roberto should not start for Barcelona, he shouldn't be a Barcelona player anymore. Like, I don't know the hate. He's a player from La Masia. He's a player that, okay, has mistakes here or there, but who doesn't have mistakes here or there? Alba has mistakes. Piqué has mistakes. Lenglet has mistakes. Busquets, like Rakitic, Vidal, De Jong. Everyone in the team has mistakes here or there. Everyone here or there loses a marker. Like, you're supposed to mark a man and you lose concentration. It happens. It's an individual error. But we cannot justify blaming all of the things that go wrong on players like Sergio Roberto, on players like Semedo, on players like Firpo, like Dembele. Like, you know, it's always blaming the weak, and it's something that I don't understand why. My criticism towards Sergio Roberto is not really towards Sergio Roberto, but towards, you know, coaches like Ernesto Valverde, that whenever Semedo was doing well, go ahead and bench Semedo because Sergio Roberto has to play here or there. And that's the thing that annoyed me. But if Sergio Roberto he was decisive and deserved, because of his game time and because he's been playing really well, to start pretty much every game, then fine. If you deserve it, go ahead, because that's what having a merit-based system does. If you play well, if you're playing better than everyone else and you deserve to play every game, then you go ahead and play every game. And that's the way that things should be. So, in my opinion, do I think Sergio is a perfectly capable right back for Barcelona? Yes, I do. I think that he's a player that can fill in at left back, can fill in at right back, in center midfield. He's even covered at center back at the worst of cases. So, he's a player that's able to fill in multiple positions. He can contribute there. Is he world class in every position? No. But is he able to fulfill the role of pretty much every position? Yes. He's able to even play as a right midfielder, or even as a pseudo right winger or more defensive right winger. He's able to do that. He's really good at playing out of the back. His dribble numbers and dribbling ability is okay for the type of player that he is. Semedo is faster and has more technical quality with the ball, but Sergio Roberto is better at the last delivery, at decision making, you know, all those kind of things. Sergio Roberto, I think that he excels at, and I think that is something that we should definitely consider. So the point of this video is to emphasize who should be our right backs. For me, it should be Sergino Dest and Sergio Roberto. If you're gonna keep Semedo and Sergio Roberto, I think that's fine too. And if you're gonna get Bellerin and Sergio Roberto, I think that I would be okay with that. But there is an argument with all of those. I think you can get profit if you get rid of Semedo. You can get a player that's very young in Sergino Dest, and that Bellerin at the end of the day is a player that fitness-wise, I don't know how he would come to Barcelona. I don't know how his coming to Barcelona would affect his injury problems. I don't know if he really truly recovered himself from that last injury, from that last ACL injury. So we have to be aware of that. It's something that we have to analyze, and definitely something to take into account, because having a player that's 25 is, you know, buying him for 25 million euros, and if he doesn't succeed in 3 years' time, he's 28. You know, you're really not gonna sell him for a profit or anything. While if you purchase Sergio Dest for 2025 and you sell him but at 23 years old, you can sell him for the same price that you bought him for, because you're at the worst case scenario, he's gonna be a player that's gonna be worth 20 million euros. So you're pretty much not going to be losing money, and you've tested out the player if he works or not. That's why, for example, Sandro Tonali going to Milan for me is an absolute disgrace that, well, especially Barcelona didn't go in for him, but Manchester City and other teams that could have used a centre midfielder of those characteristics didn't go in for him because he's 20 years old, and again, for a max of 35 million euros, and it's only 25 confirmed plus 10 on add-ons. What is the worst case scenario that can happen for the player? That you sell him for 25 million euros? That you have maxes 10 mil? For a player that could possibly be a 100 million euro player, that if he works at Milan and he becomes a starter and performs really well, then forget about 35 million. He's going to cost you 100 million euros. So this is the kind of things that I don't understand. When there is these opportunities of players that are really young, that have the potential, that you can see their potential to be one of the best players, you have to go in for them. Bayern went in for Alphonso Davies at what? They paid 10 to 15 million euros, I think it was. Worst case scenario, they could have sold him for that same price, but look at him now. He's excelling. He is becoming one of the best players in the world. And right now, if you were to go for a bid to Alphonso Davies, at least it's going to cost you 70 to 80 million euros. For a player that's going to, he's 19, that can be the best fullback in the world for the next 10 years. So it's things like that we have to analyze, that we have to think about, because there are players out there that are different than everyone else, and we have to be able to analyze them and to consider that they are world-class players, that they have the potential to be some of the best players in the world. But anyways, guys, that's all that I wanted to discuss for today. Leave me your opinion. Do you guys would like Sergino Dest, Youcef Atal, Hector Bellerin? Do you want to keep Semedo, Sergi, Roberto? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.